the Pokemon trading card game is something I never really understood as a kid. And now, here I am at the ripe old age of 29, diving right back into the fray. To keep things interesting, I'm going to stick to buying sealed product. No trades, no singles, no easy way out. With a budget of just $50 a week, I'm going to build the best competitive deck I can, and see how it stacks up against the pros. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're 13 weeks into this wee project of mine, and somehow this Frankenstein of a deck is trucking along. It really is a testament to how well designed Pikachu and Zekrom is as a card when you think about it. The control variant floating around has been doing really well against Eternatus and, to a lesser extent, ADP, and now we've got a greens version kicking around too. It's a strange world, ladies and gentlemen. Pikarom, who was pronounced to be dead at the start of the last rotation, is sticking around, taking names, and kicking butt. Now, looking at this week, with the introduction of Salamence VMAX in last week's pack opening, I'm really hoping we can pull a Salamence V, if only to have something fun to splash into the deck for this week. You know, looking at it, the Salamence line actually does have some nice synergy in that Pikarom can accelerate 3 energy to pay their attack cost pretty nicely. The 3 energy will let Salamence V do its swoop across right away, and 3 energy also puts you just 1 manual attachment away from using max wings. Also, Salamence and Salamence VMAX resist fighting, which is kind of huge for Pikarom because it feels like a lot of the time Pikarom can take the auto loss to fighting type decks. So having that resistance on a big beefy body that can smack for 240 damage, that's pretty helpful. Now, obviously, introducing that evolutionary line into the deck is going to create a little bit of inconsistency, but honestly, for this week, I am willing to try and, just keep my fingers crossed, hope we get lucky enough to at least set it up for one game. And really for the rest, you know the drill. We are obviously cracking more packs of Darkness Ablaze, which means we're hoping to land Crobat V and Vikavolt V to add a bit of consistency and a bit of stun to our list. And, with all that said, let's crack some packs. All right, everybody, you know what's up. We got ourselves another 9 packs of Darkness Ablaze. No 2 packs still, which means no Crushing Hammers or anything funky like that for us. I've given up hope of ever seeing them again, but, at least I'm a little more hopeful now. Pulling the Salamence VMAX last week has me hoping that if we can pull the Salamence V, we can add an interesting tech to the deck. Something beefy that won't get one-shot by Eternatus VMAX. And otherwise, still looking for Vikavolt, still looking for Crobat. So let's see what we can do. May the gods be good to us. I mean, the binder is really nice. I was looking at it the other day, and if I wanted to sell everything we have, it's like, oh, I may actually recoup my money, at least if Darkness Ablaze prices hold. But, that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this for fun. So, Clink, Ducklet, Mareep, Paris, Gothita, Glimwood Tangle, and an Arctozolt. We could actually play this too. We've pulled a couple of the fossils, so it might be, again, a nice little thing just to soften Pokemon up a touch in order to, make the damage output a little easier for Pikarom, because hitting for 150 or 200 is just not that much anymore. Grass Energy, Dugtrio, Rare Fossil, Simisage, Tauros, Diglett, Squovit, Shelmet, Pampor, Reverse Hollow Beartic, and yes! Oh, yes! We're gonna be adding the Salamence VMAX line to the deck. I don't even care. I don't even care if it makes the deck a little more inconsistent. I don't care. We have to do it now. It's official. We are going to be playing a Salamence VMAX line in the deck this week. If we can get it on PTCGO. Yeah, fight me. I don't know. Finally, the gods smiled upon us. Maybe we will get super lucky now and we will pull the Crobat while we're at it. Come on, let's go. Okay. No white-backed cards, so I think we're slowing our roll a little bit. Lightning Energy, Carnivine, Big Parasol, Piers, Feebas, Passimian, Fletchling, Wimpod, Grimer, Tyranitar, Reverse Hollow, and Galarian, Darmanitan in the secret ability mode. Yeah, I mean, cool. I do... Oh no, ladies and gents, they are vacuuming outside my apartment. You're just gonna have to forgive me for that. I cannot control that, and I don't know when they'll be done, so... Let's just soldier on, shall we? I do this for you. I do this for you. Fighting Energy, Ursaring, Heat Fire, Sage, Torchic, Aeron, Rookidee, Wishy-Washy, Pansage, Reverse Hollow Laron, and a Wigglytuff for the rare. Ooh, God. You know what, though? If all we got out of this thing was the Salamence this week, I'm not going to complain. I am not going to complain. I'm happy to just have something that we can put in that's not a bird keeper. All right. Fire Energy, Staravia, Shinotic, Flaffy, Skitty, Rowlet. I think we have more than a place out of that now. Wishy-Washy, Cufant, Sinistea, Torchic, and another Rainbow Centiskorch VMAX. Oh, Lord. We are taking this series to the bank. We are definitely taking this series to the bank, ladies and gents. Making some big money. We are making some big, big money. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Gods of the Polls are being good to us today. Psychic Energy, Solrock, Steenie, Old PC, absolute trash. Skarmory, Pansage, Electrike, Fletchling, Galarian Mr. Mime, Pansear, Lipard, Bubkiss. Honestly, if we don't see a white card in there, I don't think there's anything useful in the pack for us. It's starting to seem like that's the case, you know? Okay. Metal Energy, Kabu. Oh, another Turbo Patch. Okay. Dartrix, Hippopotas, Sentret, Larvesta, Morlul, Toxel, Meltan, and a Lugia for the rare. I think we have a playset of this now if you count the gold one that we got, which is pretty cool, I have to say. I cannot complain about that. Another greenback. Okay. I don't think we're getting anything here. Water Energy, Carnivine, Cape of Toughness, Powerful Colors. It seems like those two always come together, don't they? Clink, Marini, Torchic, Starly, Reverse Hollow Clink, and Gothitelle. Okay. No Bird Keeper. I never want to see another Bird Keeper again. Hey, we got a white. Okay, God, please don't let it be some stupid, like, just Hollow Foil print rare. All right. Darkness Energy, Hiding Darkness Energy, Fletchinder, Gothorita, Paris, Larvitar, Golett, Feebas, Purloin, Reverse Hollow Delcatty, and Hollow Kangaskhan. Damn it. Okay, well, obviously we have reason to celebrate because we can now play Salamence in our Pikarom deck. And we got a really nice one for the binder. That's two I've pulled so far. They're like 40 bucks each right now. Oh man, that's so good. And we might actually be able to use this because now we have a line where you can accelerate to them. So let's see if our weird Pikarom Salamence hybrid deck can happen this week. But yeah, let me get these sleeved up and then we're good to go. Wow. Just wow. We got the Salamence. This is amazing. This is fantastic. Honestly, yes, it would have been better to get the Crobat and the Vikavolt, but I am just tickled pink about that. It looks like our luck has really turned after last week's opening, and, you know, yeah, I don't care that this thing is going to make the deck a little bit more inconsistent or whatever. I want to pop the dragons in and just have a little bit of fun, at least for now. And, you know, it does look like we finally have enough to play 4 turbo patches. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go with the full playset, if only because we don't have the space after subbing in the Salamence line. But still, we're going to add a few in because I said I would. So Looking at the deck, obviously, we have Salamence V and VMAX, as well as a pair of turbo patches to help get the V charged up when Tapu Koko Prism Star is not available. We've dropped the Hoopa and a single Bird Keeper to make room for everything, but otherwise, not too many changes. My game plan today is basically to take every opportunity I can to get the VMAX into play and just smash. Ideally, that means setting Pikarom up for a full blitz and then full blitzing onto a benched Salamence V or VMAX. Now, that is a very risky line of play. I don't particularly care. I'm not so focused on taking my 3 straight wins this week. I just kind of want to see if I can make the Salamence line work in this deck, and if I have a little fun along the way, fantastic. So yeah, with all that said, let's just dive into some games. Game 1 pits my Pikarom deck against a Rillaboom Grassbox deck, if that's what you want to call it. Some people call it Eggrow. Anyway, I lead a Jirachi against my opponent's Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor. I've got a pretty good hand, including a Raichu, so I know that's probably the route I need to take, which is disappointing because, we want to play Salamence. But anyway, I pitch some Lightning Energies with the Electromagnetic Radar, grabbing Pikarom and Dedenne. I bench my big boys and then grab Tapu Koko Prism Star with my Quickball. Then, with my hand sufficiently cut down, I drop down the Dedenne to see 6 new cards. I manually attach to the Raichus and then pop Dance of the Ancients to power up the Raichus and Pikarom, and with that done, I pass my turn. My opponent manually attaches to the Eggrow and then grabs a Grookey off of a Quickball, so I know what's coming here. They're going to rapidly evolve the Rillaboom. They actually play Bead to accelerate to the Grookey, indicating that they may want to attack with the Rillaboom, and then they go for the Super Evolution attack to turn Grookey into Rillaboom. Now, as I'm fond of saying, I'm on a clock, because that energy acceleration can usually let Eggrow run away with healing itself off of its 150 for 3 energy attack, and if it gets the GX attack off, all my energies get shuffled back into my deck, which feels pretty bad. Luckily for me, I do have the Bird Keeper in hand, which will prime me for a Tandem Shock. I pop said Bird Keeper, sending Raichu into the active, and I also attach a Speed Lightning Energy to it to see more cards and meet the energy requirement. And luckily, after drawing everything and getting set up, I now have a switch and another Bird Keeper to basically perpetuate the Tandem Shock loop. So with all that set up, I go for the Tandem Shock, leaving Eggrow paralyzed. Now, on my opponent's turn, if they have the switch, it's pretty much all for naught, but almost immediately upon starting their turn, my opponent scoops. Game 2 brings me up against a Lightning Box deck, so great, another deadly Swiss Army knife to play against. Now, I have a really rough start with Tapu Koko Prism Star in the active against a Pikarom and a Morpeko V on the bench. My opponent attaches a Speed Lightning Energy to the active, seeing more cards, and then slaps an Air Balloon onto Morpeko before passing their turn. I use Quickball to grab Zapdos, and then use another Quickball to grab Dedenne. Now that I've primed my discard pile for Tapu Koko, I can pop Zapdos into the active with Switch to sting for a little bit of damage. So I slap down a Boltund V, followed by the Dedenne, and then my own Pikarom just to build my bench out. Now, looking at my options, I think it best to pop Dance of the Ancients now, accelerating to Pikarom and Boltund. Then, to finish things up, I go for the Thunderous Assault to slap Pikarom for 80 damage. My opponent attaches to the Pikarom, evolves their Morpeko into the VMAX, and then drops their own Boltund after getting off a Dead A change. And then, with no way to attack, they pass back to me. Now, back on my end, I see that beautiful Salamence, so yeah, I'm keen to get it rolling. Especially because it can Oko Pikarom and take out Morpeko VMAX if something else, like Zapdos, slaps it first. So, I pop Boltund into the active with Bird Keeper and then slap down a Big Charm onto the Doggo just to take away the Oko option from my opponent, because Tag Bolt is enough to fry Boltund even if it is a waste of the GX attack. Then I just go for the Electrify and decide to completely charge up the Salamence. My opponent gets the third energy onto Pikarom, and then realizing that they can't knock out the Boltund, they decide to just go for the full blitz, priming their Morpeko VMAX to wreck my bench. On my turn, I charge up Boltund with an energy, and then use Magnetic Radar to grab another Dedenne, pitching my hand to get some fresh cards. Not seeing anything particularly useful, I just go for the Marnie, and then clap my opponent with the Bolt Storm to KO the Pikarom, and take a juicy 3 prizes. My opponent sends Morpeko VMAX up, and then on their turn, drops down another Morpeko and another Pikarom onto the bench. My opponent drops their own Tapu Koko Prism Star and pops its effect immediately to charge up Boltund and Pikarom before slamming me with a max discharge, dealing a good amount of damage to the bench, and KOing my Boltund. I promote my Pikarom and attach to it, knowing that I probably have to KO Morpeko to take the game, or whack Boltund before it becomes too dangerous. After thinking for a little bit, I decide that to ease my route to victory, I do need to boss up the Boltund and take it out. So that's what I do, and while I have burned my GX attack, realistically now I only have to KO Dedenne or a Morpeko V to take the victory, so it'll come down to having boss. Now luckily for me, I actually get the Salamence VMAX off of the prizes, and I pretty much spend my opponent's turn praying that I don't get Marnie or stamped. My opponent evolves their other Morpeko, slaps down another Boltund, and then goes for another max discharge. Now here, as things stand, while I do have a heavily damaged Pikarom, I do sort of have game. If I can get my Salamence VMAX into the active and gust up a Boltund or Dedenne, I win. But getting there isn't necessarily a simple matter because I need 4 energies to pay for that attack cost. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of missequenced things here. And, I realized at the moment I played down the energy switch first. Realistically, I should have just retreated the Pikarom and then energy switched from Zapdos onto Salamence, but hey, you live and learn. So, I look for a little while for the correct sequence, or at least the next most optimal sequence, and I am able to get there thanks to a lucky coin flip from the Turbo Patch, which gets a lightning energy onto my Zapdos, so that when the VMAX comes into the active, I can energy switch onto that, and take out the Boltund, which I gust up with boss's orders. So yeah, nearly cost myself the game, but I'll be damned, I took it with the dragon, and that's all that matters to me. Last up, we have a mirror match. It's some Pikarom on Pikarom violence, and I'm actually a little more worried than our last game because our big bad dragon is weak to lightning, and if it happens to come up early, it might get turned into fried chicken. So my opponent starts with Pikarom while I lead with Jirachi, so already it's not super ideal for either of us, although I definitely think I have the better start. I can tell my opponent bricked a little bit because they just attach a vitality band and pass. So yeah, okay, while my start isn't ideal, I'm definitely happier to have what I have. On my turn, I use Quickball to fetch Zapdos, followed by the Magnetic Radar to grab Dedenne and Pikarom. I bench them all and see some fresh cards off of the Dedenne change, including the Salamence VMAX. Now, I go for a Stellar Wish and I don't see anything relevant, so I just attach a big charm to Pikarom, grab Tapu Koko, and pop Zapdos in with Birdkeeper to sting for 80 damage with Thunderous Assault. On my opponent's turn, they drop the Magnetic Radar and get a Raichu established, followed by their own Jirachi. They switch the Jirachi in and go for Stellar Wish, grabbing an Ordinary Rod, which is definitely not what they need right now. They do slap down an Erika's Hospitality, drawing quite a few cards and manually attaching to Pikarom before they end their turn. Back on my side, I attach a Speed Lightning Energy to Pikarom and then grab Boltund V with a Quickball. I pop Dance of the Ancients, accelerating to Pikarom and Boltund, then I pop Birdkeeper to get Jirachi into the active. Now at this point I have 2 switches in hand and I get a third off of the Stellar Wish. So I decide to just be cheeky and pop Zapdos back in to KO my opponent's Jirachi and hopefully cut off their ability to draw into some clutch cards from their deck. And apparently that was the right call to make. Looks like it was a mortal blow because before my opponent even takes their next turn, they concede. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's 3 more games, and not a bad run this week. I was really happy that I could use the Salamence VMAX to take at least 1 game, although to be honest, I really would have liked to have done it in all 3. Now, looking ahead, I doubt we can really keep that shtick up, if only because the inconsistency really doesn't do us any good and is going to end up costing me more games than it will winning. But, still, it was a nice experiment. It was kind of cool to see that Pikachu as a deck has that flexibility to incorporate some different attackers and provided a way to continue meeting the big threats out there in the metagame, right? The introduction of Boltund gave it a fantastic secondary attacker. Vikavolt gave it item lock. When Vivid Voltage comes out, it's going to get a fantastic new one prize attacker in that Zapdos, which is basically a Cramorant V. And yeah, you can incorporate colorless, usually VMAXs like Salamence, or like one of my opponents did, incorporate more Pico for some good VMAX electric style fun. Honestly, more and more, I am really happy that I started the series with Pikachu instead of the Reshizard deck. No disrespect to Reshizard, but more and more, every week that I look at it, Pikachu's flexibility is just serving us so well. And that's pretty much it for this week. Work is still a little nuts for me, so while I would love to stay a little longer and wax poetic about a children's card game, I'm going to have to keep it brief today. Thanks for watching this week, and if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Every little tick on this channel and its videos is helping to bring more sealed-only Pokemon fun to everyone, and that's a pretty cool thing. It's still a very tiny slice of the PokeTuber pond on YouTube, but hey, it's growing every day thanks to the support of you guys and other fantastic YouTubers who are doing the same thing. And with that, everyone, I will catch you next time. And until then, take it easy.